Acknowledge me!
Hello and welcome back to Bitchin' About Wrestling, where the wise men talk everything WWE. On this week's episode, we're going to be looking at everything that happened at Bash in Berlin, the last premium live event, and then everything that took place on SmackDown and this week's Raw. Joining me on this week's episode, we have Neil, as always, the original tribal boss. How you doing, Neil?
I'm good.
Good stuff. And also joining us again is Alex. How are you doing?
I am all good, and just like Drew McIntyre was not done with CM Punk, I am not done with these podcasts.
Awesome. And becoming a series regular now, we have Lee. Welcome back, Lee. How you doing?
Hi, mate. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm hooked. I'm in.
Nice. That's it. He's here for the long haul. Love to hear it. Brilliant. Right. As I said, we are going to be looking back. First of all, we're going to talk Bash in Berlin. So premium live event that took place this Saturday. And first of all, just going to get your overall thoughts, gentlemen. How you felt the event went. I thought it was a really solid event. Really enjoyable matches all the way through. There's a couple of matches which I wasn't too sure on the outcomes. And so they were a little surprising. But I think the main one for me was a women's tag team championship. Didn't see it going that way at all. But Alex, let me know your thoughts. How did you find Bash in Berlin?
I'm incredibly disappointed because I'm pretty certain my wife kicked my ass on predictions for an event that she knew nothing about. So
I can put you out of your misery and confirm she absolutely kicked your ass.
She kicked my ass. But no, it was interesting. They've used it as a show, I think, to send the fans home happy, rather than something to really push the storylines forward. So it's actually a really interesting one. And every match was really, really good. So yeah another, I like this. It's almost like a mid-card pay-per-view. So they do 5 solid matches. They all get a bit of time. They're all really well put together. And it just works. So yeah, I'm loving the way they do this at the moment.
Yeah, it's amazing WWE's attitude, right? Because it's like, okay, we'll go to Cardiff, fans, fuck you. We'll go to Scotland, fans, fuck you. We'll go to Germany, Berlin, say, hey, we'll give you everything you want. Be happy.
It's so like, true.
Wow, how did this happen?
It's so true.
Maybe they learned from the fans' reaction in Scotland.
Well, they didn't make them happy. They didn't make them happy on SmackDown, but we will get to that later.
That's true.
But yeah, no, it was. Listen, I mean, it was great to see Gunther get the reaction that he got.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like France has ruined us though, because no crowd is ever going to be as good as that French crowd, unless we go to Puerto Rico again.
Yes, yeah, no, that's right. That's the benchmark now, isn't it? That's exactly where we want to be. And I'm not even sure if we had it in England, we'd actually be able to compete. Because being at AEW. Probably a couple of weeks ago now, there was moments where it was great, but there was a lot of lows where in France it was just consistent. Lee, what did you think of the pay-per-view overall?
Yeah, I thought it was great. Another solid pay-per-view. I'm really liking the 5-match format that they've brought sort of back now. You don't get fatigue watching it, and matches for the sake of matches. No, I thought it was great. Again, like Alex, few results in there that I didn't see coming. And yeah, I felt it was a filler pay-per-view, but good quality graps.
Yeah, that's it. We don't mind the filler pay-per-views because we know some of these aren't going to progress the storylines massively or have big shocks, but it's how you deliver that pay-per-view. So Neil, your thoughts?
I was very, very happy with the pay-per-view. I think everything that happened pretty much works. Everything went well. Interestingly enough, where we say things like, it didn't kind of further any storylines or didn't further any developments, I think it did. Because I mean, we'll get into the matches, of course, but I think it's like when we start talking about the matches, you'll find that a good number of them, took solid steps forward in their particular storylines, barring like 1 or 2.
I think it just didn't give them the big shove that you normally get from pay-per-view. It was a case of, come on, let's just usher you through and let's just keep. I think that's more what I mean, is there was no big shock.
There was no surprise returns, no big, no, absolutely. Well, let's look back at the first match, and that was the undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes against Kevin Owens. So, a lot of back and forth, obviously, at the start of the match, but we got to a point in the match where the American Nightmare, he went for the top rope, and he was going to do like a diving crossbody, but his knee buckled. So we had that moment where Owens is like, are we actually, am I going to go for it? Am I going to utilize it and take advantage? He didn't. He decided not to do it. Then we had a moment outside of the ring where he could do an apron powerbomb, and he decided not to do that as well. But he hit 2 stunners on Rhodes, still couldn't put him away, and he did a swanton bomb. But Cody Rhodes hit a couple of crossroads, and then hit a final one. There was a bit of an interruption between, and then ended up putting him away. It was a result we expected, but Owens, was there going to be that heel turn at the end? It didn't happen. It was a respect thing at the end of the match, and again, they went home friends. So what did you guys make of the match? Was it the right outcome in terms of the story? Because again, we all predicted pretty much the same result, but how did you feel the match went? I kind of like the fact that they lent into Owens and that friendship and how he feels about Cody to not take advantage of the things that he would normally, and maybe that is a storyline they can continue, that he didn't have that killer instinct anymore. Neil, thoughts?
I think that match was planned perfectly. I don't think he could have done it any better. There was a small chance in my head, and I didn't do it in predictions, but part of me was thinking, I wonder if this match is going to end in a no contest.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, I'm glad it didn't. And I think that it couldn't have ended any better. Cody needed to win, and Owens, it provides Owens it puts him in a better light, because instead of it being, he didn't have that killer instinct, it's this is a measured man. He's like, I'm not trying to injure my friend. Right. Which is a nice change to like Kevin Owens, who will like murder anyone who's considered his best friend.
Exactly that. Yeah. Alex, anything to add?
Yeah, no, I just thought it was a brilliant match, as it was always going to be between these two. And I liked the distraction that we were given, that he was, that Kevin could turn heel, but I never bought it, because we all think Randy's going to turn heel, and that's going to be the next part down the line, based on what happens later in the show. But I didn't like the knee angle. I didn't see the point in it, because it's not something that ever happened on television. I understand why they did it, but they could have just done it the case of he didn't go for some of his killer moves, because the powerbomb on the thing is the powerbomb on the apron is what he does to people he really doesn't like.
He doesn't like.
And he did go for the knee, but I like that they were friends afterwards and they raised each other's hands, and it was in the exact spot on the card I thought it was going to be. It was the exact result that I thought it was going to be. And do I get the points for a triple Cody Cutter, even though it got interrupted? Not Cody Cutter, triple Crossroads, even though it got interrupted, because that was definitely a trip. That was definitely a triple.
You did get the point for that. You did.
Woohoo!
Yes.
I lose so many other points from this weekend. I just want to make sure I got that one.
No, you did. Judge's discretion. You got that one. Lee, anything to add to that?
Only I totally agree with Alex. Firstly, I thought the knee angle was unnecessary. I didn't like the way actually in the match it was set up, because Cody had been flying all over the place. And then all of a sudden his knee's gone. I thought, it's a bit weak. Yeah. But man, how good is Owens? Owens' face just sells stories, and it's brilliant. The
man is a gift.
I know his contract. He is, isn't he? Yeah. And I think if he was to go, which I'm praying he doesn't, we'd miss him big time. Yeah. No, great match. Blew my predictions completely out of the water, because I had that as the main event. So, yep. Disappointed from the start, but that's good.
I think we all summed that up pretty much up. And everyone went for Cody except for Ryan for some reason. He went for Owens. We thought Owens was going to turn heel and take the win. So we all got points there. In terms of bonus points, Alex got a bonus point, and Lee got a bonus point as well. He said, KO unable to put him away, just because the way the story lent itself. So that was decent start to the pay-per-view. What do you guys think about the Crossroads? I seriously think he needs a new finisher, right? Having to hit the same move 3 times to put someone away, it doesn't do it for me.
The Cody, if Randy wasn't about, the Cody cut is a better move.
Mm-hmm.
I think no. Do you know what it is? I don't think there is any issues with the Crossroads. I think the issue is the fact that it's the big moment when he hits it 3 times. Like, look, hit it 3 times on Roman because this is a man who's been champion for 4 years. But if you, as undisputed WWE champion, can't put away your opponent with 1 crossroad, your finisher, you can hit him once.
Yes.
If you can't do it 1 time, there's an issue. Unless hitting the triple crossroad is now his finisher. And a single crossroad is it's like we've had, Suplex City, we've had the 3 Amigos, we've had people who hit a move 3 times. It's not uncommon, but
they don't do it.
No,
as
it's
your
your finisher.
But if your finisher requires you to hit it 3 times, there's a big problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's it. That's exactly it. The move itself, I thought, is decent. He pulls it off quite well. So, yes, to put 3 on Roman, to put him away, the champion is, over 1,000 days that he was, absolutely. But now you're having to do it to every person to finish every match. That's where the issue is.
I don't mind him doing it to Kevin because it's a respect thing more than anything to Kevin Owens. And, he's only done it 1 time to beat Grayson Waller and to beat Austin Theory. Did he do it multiple times on Solo? I can't remember.
Solo,
but I think,
and AJ, yeah. So he saves it for the PLEs. He ends up hitting it 3 times.
I think the problem as well is too many people have kicked out of a single Crossroads already.
Yeah.
So I think he needs something different. Maybe a submission because it doesn't seem to do any holds. Maybe a submission will suit a guy like him. But yeah, no, I agree. I hadn't really thought about it, but now that I am, it's not the strongest finisher, is it?
No. Okay, so the next match on the card, we had Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus the Unholy Union for the Women's WWE Tag Team Championship. And we have new tag team champions. This was a bit of a surprise to me. I didn't think it was going to go this way. In terms of the actual match, I thought Fire and Dawn were actually a lot better than the other 2. I thought their ring awareness was great, the way they utilized the referee and the distractions and, kept Belair in the corner the whole time and, keeping Cargill away. I thought that was really great. In terms of their work rate and work ethic and the way they moved together, I thought they were great. But, ETST, she makes a tag, Cargill comes in, cleans house, wheelbarrow, suplex, DDT combo thing, and Cargill got the pin. So, in terms of predictions, Neil had Jade and Bianca, and Ryan had the same, but the rest of us went for Unholy Union. So, Neil, why did you go for Jade and Bianca?
Because I reckon that Clash at the Castle was literally just to try and give local talent a pop. I think that WWE basically just said, you know what? This is going to be the perfect way to delay the storyline, which leads to the eventual breakup between Cargill and Bianca, which leads to their eventual match. The perfect way to sow the seeds of that is to have them lose the titles and then have them go on this journey to get those titles back. And then you can see, errors get made and mistakes get made, and there's a little bit of tension here, and then there's no tension at all. And then the kind of not over reliance, but the overselling of how close they are and how cool they are together. The fact that they like, we're cool, we're best friends. That overselling of that, perfect. Now they got the tag titles, and then you have that moment where either they're going to lose the tag titles to a deserving team, or you could just have one of them turn on the other one like mid-match, and then that's what you're kicking it in.
Yeah. All right. Lee, anything to add to that match?
Alba Fire and Isla Dawn look fantastic. There was some great tag team moves in that match. Really good. I got a soft spot for Alba Fire. I've seen her when she was Kaylee Ray on the Indies.
Okay.
Watched her get choke slammed off a balcony in front of about
damn.
50 people. Yeah, by Viper, funnily enough. It was a bit of a mad Southampton street fight, they called it. But yeah, no, it was a great match. Shame they have to sort of hot potato the tag titles to further the storyline, but yeah, good.
Okay. Alex?
I was blown away by the performance in that match. Because I just didn't expect that kind of a match, and I thought the match was brilliant. I really, really enjoyed it. And yeah, I didn't know Alba Fire and Isla Dawn had that in them, so they really, really impressed me with that. I went for them to retain because I wanted the whole breakdown between Jade and Bianca. But having said that, what I think that match has done for Isla Dawn and Alba Fire is actually even better. I think it has shown that they have done an amazing performance. They then had a great performance last night on Monday Night Raw. So actually, losing to Jade and Bianca isn't a big deal because everybody should lose to those two because they are the strongest, biggest pairing there is. But they've done a bloody good job. So I actually don't hate it, and I'm interested to see how they go because if they're going to try and grow this women's division, especially with Pure Fusion Collective, I got the name right. Also starting to run riot, and with the other ones coming back, and as in Damage Control coming back, I think there's actually a lot of potential for these titles to do really, really well. They just got to let it cook a little bit, but we need Bianca and Jade to go away because they're too strong, I think, because we need. And also, I just want Bianca back going after titles.
That's right. I want to see her on the single scene. I want her to be out of that tag team as soon as possible. Right, next match we had CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in a strap match. So this was CM Punk with his win, defeated Drew McIntyre in epic fashion during their brutal and very personal strap match. McIntyre, though, attacked Punk before the bell even rang, brutalized him. Great start to the match. But Punk hit a GTS and flipped the script, and it led to a fight on the outside. There's a moment where Punk pulled a table out and Drew knocked him down. I was like, and pushed the table back under the ring. I thought that was really great. But eventually, Punk did get the table back up and he set it up, but unfortunately to his own demise because the Scottish Warrior soon launched Punk over the top rope and through the table on the outside. We had McIntyre pick up Punk and carry him over his shoulders to each of the corners. So as McIntyre kept tapping, Punk was over his shoulder tapping as well to get almost 3 out of 4 and nearly steal the victory. Punk got Drew into a sharpshooter and McIntyre tried to tap out, but there was no submissions in this match. So I thought that was really interesting. Wasn't a fan of that. I didn't like Drew tapping into that, but I'll get your thoughts in a sec. And then McIntyre then got control back. He pulled out Punk's family bracelet from his trunks. Not the most hygienic of places, but and he hit a Claymore. We thought it was going to be all over, but Punk countered with a GTS as he tried to win the match, and he ends up hitting like 3 GTSs after that. I think it was like 4 in total, pretty much after each turnbuckle. He hit him with another GTS to keep him down, and hit those 4 turnbuckles to win his first match in WWE for 11 years. Alex, your thoughts on the match?
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Again, it wasn't the result I wanted and wasn't the result I expected because I didn't expect what happened last night to happen, and I expected it to go to a third match because Drew won again and did something dodgy. But yeah, to see Punk do 3 GTSs was really cool, and also to see a different type. Actually, I quite liked the way they ended up doing the rules for the match for touching the corner. Yeah,
because it's still unclear even before, just up until the match started, and then you saw the lights. And I was like, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and I didn't mind it. I mean, it's very much WWE wrestling have to suspend your disbelief of why don't you just run to all the freaking corners?
Yes.
You know, but yeah, my biggest issue is your same issue, which is I didn't like Drew tapping and tapping quite weakly.
Yeah, it's quite quick. It's like a real panic situation, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I'm just like, I didn't like it. I much prefer my monster heels or my monster baby faces to have a Steve Austin in the sharpshooter moment rather than actually tapping out, because it just didn't fall for me that way. But the match was killer. Really, really great match. Again, it's a theme for this pay-per-view that the matches were just brilliant.
Yeah, agreed. Neil, anything to add?
Oh, there was so much about this match I didn't like.
Oh, okay.
So much. The whole turnbuckle thing, like, if I touch, like, I don't mind when they're like, okay, if you touch a turnbuckle and then I touch that turnbuckle, it's changed from you to me. The whole, you touch a turnbuckle and then I clothesline you, your lights go off. I'm like,
yeah,
what kind of funky shit is that, right? So I was like, I weren't feeling that. I wouldn't mind a countdown, like 10 seconds between maybe going from turnbuckle to turnbuckle. And I think that would add a different kind of excitement and element to the match. So you hit that turnbuckle, then you have a countdown in the corner, and the crowd could be going 10, 9, and you have to get to that next turnbuckle within that period. I think the crowd could really get into that in the match.
Add a bit of
that
urgency.
Would have been better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
that would have been better. I mean, it would have caused problems with the whole turnbuckle GTS.
Yeah.
But even that, I like that, because as much as, I'm not Punk's fan, that whole kind of aspect, that was like, that is the WWE 2K players mindset is, I know I need to do this thing and I know you're going to get up. So I'm going to do it, finisher, then do it again, finisher, then do it again, finisher. Because you're not getting up all the time. I'm going to make sure you take a good nap. So
it's like when you have a 3-on-1 match or a tag team match. It's like you've really got to damage absolutely everybody, otherwise the job's never getting done.
Yes.
Exactly, right? The whole sharpshooter bit, again, I'm in sync with you guys. I don't want to see my opponent like that. I don't want to see someone like Drew McIntyre tapping out. Like, what would have been better, again, like Alex said about that Stone Cold moment, is he should have been put in the sharpshooter and then been like looking at Punk, flip him off. You've been flipping him off. I ain't tapping for you. I'm not. And then, you know what? Pass out. Or be quote unquote passed out. And then because
hit the ref.
No, just be passed out. And then because you are a big 200, almost 300-pound man, just lay there like a dead fish, and then Punk doesn't have enough slack, enough length of rope to touch the turnbuckle. By the time you wake up, now you can pull him back, no momentum. That would have been better than...
They didn't do enough to show the physicality difference between Punk and Drew, and that's a big thing for me, because as you say, Drew's enormous, 6'5", whatever he is, 285, 290 pounds, and Punk is a much smaller guy.
Yes.
So the whole point of a strap match is you've got to lug your opponent around. Maybe the strap's too long. So I really, really enjoyed the match. I think they played it really well. They could have done better with it.
Yeah. But one thing I will give absolute credit to was the whole Drew carrying Punk, and every time he touched it. That, for me, honestly, that would have been a way to that if Punk won the match like that.
Yeah. No,
I would have been happy. As much as I don't like it, I'd have been happy, because then he's outsmarted Drew. He's got the win. Now they're one apiece.
Yep.
And now you can have what happened on Monday. Have that happen, because Drew's like, I'm so incensed.
Yeah. If he'd have hit the 3 turnbuckles, slipped out, hit a GTS, then smacked the last turnbuckle, that would have been a much better ending, and also it would have been funny.
Yeah.
It would have been really, really funny. And that's the whole thing. He
He wants to anger Drew, right?
What's the thing? Then CM Punk could gloat, and then actually what happened last night makes more sense.
Yeah, agreed. Lee, anything to add to that match?
No, I agree 100%. I thought Punk beat Drew too well, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
think,
agreed.
yeah. I would have. I thought when he passed out from the sharpshooter, or was in the sharpshooter, if he had passed out, maybe he could have, got the duct tape out and taped him up. Humiliated Drew, pulled him along the ring, that sort of thing. But no, I think he beat him too well, in my opinion. GTS after GTS.
Yeah. All right.
Great match.
Agreed. Yeah, it was a good match. Right, next up we had Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley versus Dirty Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan in a mixed tag team match. Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio started the match, and he was basically throwing him around like a rag doll, as it should be. Like we was talking about the size and power of the man and the opponent. Mysterio scrambled to his corner, tagged in Liv. Rhea was quickly out of the blocks and took her out and drop kicked her. Mami eventually came face to face with Mysterio, and the crowd went wild at this point. It was fantastic. The way she turned on him, he's standing in the corner, almost asking, like, do you want a hug? We cool? Trying to calm her down. But she clotheslined him, and then she got her legs to put him in a sleeper hold in the corner. It's a real throwback to when she did that to him originally, before they were together as Dom and Mami. And, the way she leaned into that, the crowd and her face, she was going absolutely psycho on that. That was really, really well done. We had Liv Morgan drag Mysterio out of Mami's clutches when she went to put him in the Riptide. And then she did this great move where it was this twisting slam pin combo. And I was like, that should be Liv's finisher, not what she has. That was a great move, kind of out of nowhere. They didn't even have a name for it. We had got a doubles Razor's Edge, which was nice. Judgment Day came down, but Priest wiped out Carlito, JD Madonna, and Finn Balor, and then Liv Morgan was left alone in the ring. Ripley hit a Riptide on her and put her in what has now been dubbed the pretzel pin by Ripley onto Liv Morgan for the finish, to the delight of the crowd in the arena and everyone watching at home. Neil, Neil gives it 2 thumbs up. Tell me about your thoughts on the match.
Oh, this was a beautiful match. This was a beautiful, beautiful match. I am disappointed that Rhea didn't hit Dom with a Riptide, but I imagine that's the permanent send off. So that's the
let's lay it down the road.
And that's the end of feud maneuver. So okay, it'll come. But yeah, the match was great. I noticed WWE, maybe it's a Triple H thing, is they're having a lot of their superstars. It seems like the superstars are just getting more intelligent. And I don't mean that to say that they're stupid, but what I mean is we've had it where, like, when Finn betrayed Damien, he looked at the Titantron
big screen
and saw it. He looked at the big screen and saw it happen for himself, and then knew. We've got it where we've got wrestlers walking to the ring, and then as someone's about to run up and attack them from behind, they turn around and take them out. It's like, no, I'm not stupid. I know you're coming. And that level of ring awareness, loving. And like we saw it in this match where, that whole Dom trying to get a hug from Rhea, and then Rhea turned around and clobbered Liv. Right? She took her out. I was a Marvel superhero hit. And I was like, I love the fact that they're doing this. And I couldn't fault the match at all.
Good. The wrestlers might be getting smarter, but the referees definitely aren't, because they can't tell a chair shot from anything. Smash! What was that big loud noise? No, never mind. Don't worry. Let's carry on. Lee, what did you think of the match?
Great match. Wrong team won, in my opinion.
I'd agree.
Story-wise. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen Liv and Dom nick a win again. And I felt the whole of the Judgment Day coming out and Rhea and Priest taking them out one by one just made the unit look a bit weak. The story's got legs in it still, but I would have liked a Healy win.
Yeah. Okay, Alex.
I'm in agreement. Rhea and Damien shouldn't be winning until we have the inevitable pay-per-view where you have Rhea take the title back and Damien beat Finn. Until that point, they shouldn't win. It should be a case of they keep getting screwed, they keep getting screwed, they keep getting screwed. Then they win the title. She finishes off them, and maybe they don't have to go away forever. But then Judgment Day can go away for a bit, and give all those guys a well-deserved rest because they have all been fucking excellent, and they could probably have some time off TV so we can miss them a little bit. I'm getting bored of them. That's not the case at all. But yeah, I just think unless you're ending the story with the Judgment Day, with Judgment Day and the Terror Twins, which are not, there was no point the good guys winning yet.
Yeah,
I disagree.
Of course you do, because it means Mummy loses.
No. The reason I disagree is we need to return to that. We need to return to, Rhea trying to get the title back. I'm not saying she should win, but her trying to get the title back is now her priority. So now you have her lose again, because after she had the title for so long, and then yes, she's been off for so long, and now she's back aiming for the title. You don't need to give the title back to Rhea Ripley. You need a returning superstar, Charlotte Flair or someone. You need that person coming back to win the women's world title. And then you can set up to Rhea winning either that title or going to SmackDown and winning their title later on. You don't need, as much as I love Rhea Ripley, I don't want to see Rhea Ripley as a champion again for at least the next 3 to 6 months.
But the problem is the whole story arc revolves around Rhea taking the title back off of Liv.
Yeah,
that's the entire story arc. That's literally her main thing at the moment. She doesn't give a shit about Dom. She's done with him. This is all about getting her title back. That's the whole point of everything. Yeah, but unfortunately, I say unfortunately, you do have to give the fans eventually what they want and send everyone home happy, and the good guy has to win. It's not one of your favorite horror movies where the bad guys win. It is still WWE. Yeah. We still have superheroes, and it's a superhero movie. And in this superhero movie, Rhea Ripley is Superman, and she must come out on top.
Yeah. Well, it took Cody 2 years, so just saying. Right. So in terms of predictions, Terror Twins was selected by Neil and Rax. They both got it right. Forgot to mention in terms
and my
of
wife
Punk, and your wife, absolutely. In terms of Drew and Punk, I went for Punk, Rax did, Ryan did, and Lee did, and
my wife
also
did.
Alex's wife. Yeah, so she was on a roll. Right, so then we had the main event of the evening, the World Heavyweight Championship, Gunther, the Ring General versus Randy Orton. It was a great crowd. They're really up for this match. I thought it was a classic match. I thought it was really great. I think it was very, very physical, lots of holds, great technical wrestling, but interjected with like power moves. It felt like a real heavyweight fight to me, like real two guys slogging at it. Just to note that Orton entrance was phenomenal. That camera work and the music and everything, that was such a beautiful, beautiful entrance. We had the Ring General attempt to lift Orton with a power bomb, but he counted it into an RKO and Gunther kicks out. But then we had Gunther eventually getting Randy Orton into a sleeper, and despite a lot of fight back, he was put to sleep, and Gunther retained his title in Berlin. Alex, what were your thoughts on the match?
Oh, it was just brilliant, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Absolute perfect storytelling from beginning to end, with two of the best professional wrestlers in the business beating the ever-loving shit out of each other. And it was just brilliant. The things that we thought would happen, which was Gunther kicked out of an RKO, just overwhelming power of Gunther over Randy, which you don't see, which is, and then extends the story arc of this is how you turn Randy heel, because he'll lose to Gunther, and then he will try and do something and end up turning on on Cody, and then he's going to lose to Cody, or maybe he'll be like, well, why haven't I got my match? You gave Kevin a match, give me a match, and then he loses to Cody, and then he doesn't get the hand raised. He just gets RKO'd, and then that sends off in another direction. So this was just perfect. It was exactly what's needed for someone like Gunther to go on another brilliant run. He's going to have this title for a while. He deserves to have it for a while. I don't see anyone that can take it from him either.
Yeah. There was a couple of nice moments at the beginning of the match where they were reacting to the crowd. Like Orton couldn't believe like the noise and the reaction, and he was even laughing, and Gunther was laughing because Orton was. There was a bit where they were doing the Mexican wave, and Orton was trying to get involved. He was like raising his hands up. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, absolutely great. Well done to the crowd in that match in particular. Lee, thoughts on the match?
Exactly the same as Alex. Brilliant match, start to finish. Randy Orton is a beast, isn't he? He looked fantastic in those trunks, like absolute monster.
290?
Yeah.
I think they build him as 290. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolute monster walking to the ring. Just look. Funny you mentioned the camera work. I think the cameras have got really, they've changed slightly, particularly when they're doing the introductions and things.
4K cameras. The
4K cameras,
yeah.
Depth of field. Yeah,
fantastic match. Gunther winning clean. I said Gunther would win clean. I didn't think there'd be any interference or anything.
That's right.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. We spoke about earlier, and we went for pinfall because we did kind of feel that because Gunther didn't pin Orton at King of the Ring, I thought part of the story would be like, now there is no question. I have pinned you. Both your shoulders are down. That is it. So that is not that. Yeah, I didn't quite expect that finish, but someone who did expect the TKO or the submission was Neil. So how did you find the match, Neil?
Oh, that's what a match is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Big beefy men just slapping the tomahawk steaks out of each other.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was a match. And it was like, I've watched Randy Orton's career from day one when he had the Randy Orton Adidas trunks, right? The blue trunks with the 2 stripes, right? And to see him go from basically a skinny kid to this beast of a man who could flip and be Kratos, he looks like he could just, he just, like gravity changes when he's around.
Right. So coming on to the predictions and the final results. In 6th and last place, we had Ryan. Then in joint 4th place, we had myself and Alex. Then in joint 2nd place, we had Neil and Lee, which makes our champion this month, Rax, with 9 points.
How many points did because Lauren got 4 out of 5 right. She's asked what does she. I texted her and told her that she's won, and she wants to know what.
Technically, in terms of results, she came out top. But obviously, it's bonus points. So she got 4 out of 5 results. I think the only other person who got 4 out of 5 was Neil. I think Neil got 4 out of 5 because he had everyone except he went for Drew.
Drew.
Yeah, so he had 4 out of 5 as well. So technically, she's tied with Neil, which is nothing to be ashamed about if you're tying with Neil, the legend that he is. But it was I got 3 out of 5. I think Alex, you got 2 out of 5 results. So your wife absolutely slaughtered you.
Yeah, I got 3 wrong. I only got 2 out of 5. Because I went for the storyline stuff, not just who I know the names of.
Yeah. I asked my wife actually just before we came onto this podcast because she didn't know any of the results or anything like that. So I brought up the card. I was like, who do you think would win out of these? And she got 3 out of 5, same as me. So what do I know? Don't know why I'm doing this podcast really, but there we go. Right, so that was Bash in Berlin. Let's have a little quick look back at SmackDown last week. The show opened, obviously, because it was based in Germany. It started with LA Knight coming out for the US Open Challenge.
Yeah.
We we batted around a load of names who we thought it might be, and I think it was Alex who did say Ludwig Kaiser would be a shout, but we didn't know if it was going to be brand specific. But I guess as an open challenge suggests it could be anyone, and so it was Germany's own Ludwig Kaiser. He answered the call, got a great reaction from the crowd, and it put LA Knight in a position he's not being used to, not being the favorite. And he even acknowledged Ludwig at the start of the match, and Ludwig just kind of did this shoulder brush off and like, yeah, that's how I roll over here. And so again, LA Knight was unfamiliar territory, but there was a big early storm from Kaiser. Again, I thought he looked really great in this match. He's someone who keeps impressing me week on week. I think he's a really, really good talent, and I like the fact that he's being able to shine as that single competitor now. And but Kaiser's quest to turn the United States Championship into the European title ended with the BFT delivered by Knight for the victory. Lee, what were your thoughts on the match?
Great reaction, as expected from the German crowd. But Kaiser's great. Kaiser's solid wrestler. You're going to get. It reminds me of Sheamus, really, in a lot of ways. It comes to the ring, you're going to get a good solid match from a good solid worker. Yeah.
Yeah. Neil, thoughts?
Ludwig's always going to be the guy to pull off a stellar match, but I think it's weird because you said that he reminds you of Sheamus. I look at him and I feel like if it wasn't LA Knight and Braun Breaker, he would be the mid-card champion. I think he could comfortably carry a mid-card title. Yeah,
no, I'd agree with that. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him as Intercontinental Champion and Gunther as World Heavyweight Champion as that faction. That'd be awesome. Alex, your thoughts?
People like Ludwig Kaiser are the winners in a Vince McMahon-less WWE.
Correct.
That someone like him doesn't get in the WWE, doesn't get that spot in a WWE run by Vince McMahon. And this is where in Triple H we trust. And it's come through really, really well. I think everything the guy does is brilliant. His character work is flawless. The way those two played the crowd, actually realizing a bit like Rock Hogan kind of thing.
Yes.
Where they realized the crowd was much more for Ludwig than they were for LA. They just played that on the fly brilliantly. It was really, really well done. Really, really great match. And I'm pleased because there are a lot of people who think LA can't wrestle, and he gets a lot of criticism online, and I don't agree. Okay, he's not the best technical wrestler in the world. He's not a huge power guy. He's not a flippy doodah guy, but he sits in the middle nicely and can put together a great wrestling match and do great spots. So I'm still a big fan of that match, and obviously the right result.
Yeah, I like his catchphrase. I do enjoy some of his pre-match build-up for LA Knight, but as an in-ring performer, I'm not the biggest fan. I can take or leave his matches quite easily, but that's just a personal opinion. But what was a great part of SmackDown was Carmelo Hayes versus Andrade, the fourth installment of this epic rivalry. And again, it was Carmelo Hayes who tied the series to a piece. Andrade had scintillating offense, corkscrew dive to the outside, huge Spanish fly, but Hazy found time for the perfect counter. He dropped Andrade on the exposed turnbuckle, allowing him to hit the nothing but net to score the win. So each of the two wins, obviously Carmelo Hayes haven't been completely clean or like him dominating, but I think that feeds into this story and obviously the kind of character that Hayes is kind of building. But it's two apiece, and I don't even want the next one to be a decider. I just want him to keep cooking all the way to WrestleMania. Yeah, exactly. Make it a best of freaking 30 or whatever it is. Take it all the way to Mania. I don't care. They used to be wrestling every week is awesome.
I was going to say, I don't care if that actually is now just a fixture of WWE. One match,
weekly SmackDown fight. Yeah.
It's just them two. It's just, they are just brilliant. And each match has got better. And I didn't think it was possible because they've just been absolutely flawless. I just have so much respect for the in-ring work of those two. And it's not even just the performances, it's the storytelling they were able to do through a match, which is such a key fundamental of WWE, which sometimes gets forgotten about and sometimes gets lost. And I loved it. I just thought it was brilliant. And I could happily watch that match every single week. And even the commentators were saying it.
Yeah, and what I want them to do is just continue this rivalry for a bit. The respect is going to grow and grow. make them a tag team, and put them tag belts on them, because those two wrestling together will be awesome. That's how I would book it. Lee, what would you think of the match?
Fight forever, totally. Give me a best of 100. There's brilliant. I'm a massive fan of Andrade.
Yes, agreed.
Followed him since joining NXT, and he always used to be the fodder guy in NXT. He was always the guy that the new guy fought and beat and got their career going in the black and gold brand. And then he sort of come out of nowhere with that partnership with Vega to beat. I can't remember who he beat now. Anyway, he won the gold NXT title, and he's just been fantastic ever since. Really, I love Andrade. I'd love to see him in a top feud for a top title in the near future.
Definitely. Neil, thoughts?
Yeah, them two, like you say, Lee, them two could fight best of 100.
If they were sticking on the same brand and they weren't going to become a tag team, I'd keep their feud going so it was impossible to separate them as a number one contender, have a triple threat with LA Knight, and one of them pick up the victory that way. I think that'd be awesome.
That's a nice story arc. I like that.
Yeah. So then we had a backstage segment with Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline. He announced that the Bloodline would be fighting the Street Profits and DIY in a triple threat match for the tag team titles this coming week. And he said he had eyes on Bash in Berlin, because obviously this was before. He didn't care who won, whether it was Kevin Owens or Cody Rhodes, because he was coming for the title next. Basically, it was calling dibs. Then we had the main event of the evening, which was Nia Jax versus Michin, the WWE Women's Championship match in a street fight. This was a heavy match. This was awesome. Michin, I thought, looked really strong. There was lots of weapons pulled out. They also had teased the table where Michin tried to pull the table out, and Nia Jax is like, not having any of that. But eventually tables did come out. But Michin powerbombed the champion through a table, which was an awesome spot. Tiffany Stratton then run down to the ring, and she did look like she was going to consider cashing in. She was having a little bit of a look back and forth, looked to the referee, and then looked down at Nia, and Nia's awake looking back at her going, what the fuck are you thinking about? She was like, oh, no, not at all, no. She then went over to hit Michin with the briefcase, went to go hit a Pretty's moonsault, but was interrupted by the returning Bailey, who chased her down the ring in a very forgiving top.
Bounded down to the ring.
Down to the ring, absolutely. And then Jax capitalized on the madness and planted Michin through a table before putting a trash can over her head, hitting her with an annihilator and killing her. And that is how SmackDown ended. Thoughts on the match, Neil?
I'm sorry. Well, you're like, put the annihilator and killed her.
It looked devastating.
Murdered her. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was watching this at like midnight on was it midnight? I don't know when I was watching it, but I literally went, oh my God. So that was like,
then she hit with the kendo. Then she hit with the kendo stick afterwards.
No, she threw a table at her.
Oh no, that was it. It was the table on the top. Yeah, and she threw the table on top of her in the trash can.
Yeah,
mental.
Like, I mean, Nia Jax gets she gets a bad rap, but she has made a lot of mistakes in the past. But I think that I say, you know what, bad students are reflections of bad teachers, right? So it's maybe she was just given the wrong teachers, or maybe being under Vince's rule, he just didn't really care. He didn't care about the women's division. He didn't really care about how good or bad she was. He was just like, let's keep doing anything. But it looks like she is starting to get, or has started since her return, to get, she's getting a bit crisper with certain aspects, or they're basically understanding who she is and the physicality she has, which is benefiting her. Yeah, playing to her strengths, and her having these matches. I mean, I looked at it and they were like Michin versus Nia Jax. I was like, that's just cannon fodder.
Yeah.
But this match was not cannon fodder at all. This was a good match. And I'm like, yeah, more like that. And also on TikTok, Alex, I think it was you who sent the video of Michin's injuries.
Yes.
I was like,
just her bruises, the poor girl.
You know what? I mean, to be honest with you, I was
she was smiling.
I was
She looks
looking
very
at it, and
happy.
I was like,
badges of honor.
You know, that's not as bad as I thought it would be, considering some of the matches you've had.
That's what I mean. But the thing that's great is she just looks so happy. She spent so much time on the freaking sidelines. And I mean, I didn't really know much about her. You know, all I knew about her was she was in NXT for a while. I knew nothing about her NXT career. She was thrown into Retribution, which she didn't want to be in. And we all know the dumpster fire that was. And then she got landed with the OC and didn't do anything with them and has been in no man's land. And now she's just had one of the best matches for a really long time that we've seen on SmackDown, let alone male, female, or any type of match. It was a brilliant, brilliant match that I thoroughly enjoyed.
Worthy match. Yeah,
absolutely. And because it was in Germany, it felt like a PLE match because it was abroad, you know. You know, and it was the right thing that she didn't win, but she came out like an old school hardcore match. You know, like Al Snow would come out, or Raven would come out with his thing full of with his thing of his trolley full of toys, and she just fucking went for it, and it was absolutely brutal, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I want more like that. What I want for Nia, I agree with Neil. Since she came back, she's been better. She's looked like she's not hurting people like she had been, and she's in a bit more control.
But I would consider probably her and Andrade probably two of Triple H's best rehires since he's been in charge, bringing them back into the business of those that have been released. Because I think, she's done really, really well since she's come back. And she's been pushed, you know, really well. Like you say, Queen of the Ring, and then picking up the championship, and so far having a good reign. So, happy to have her around. So that is how SmackDown ended. So this week on SmackDown, we have, like I said, that triple threat match for the WWE Tag Team Championships. Let's take a look at Monday Night Raw. We had Rhea Ripley opening the show. She came out to a great reaction from the crowd, and she was basically boasting about her and Damian Priest's victory over Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio at Bash in Berlin. She said, you know, I pinned the champion, so therefore I should have a shot at the title that I never lost, the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. But Dom came out to amazing boos. The crowd were so hot on him. That was brilliant. And I just, every time I keep saying it, I love the fact when he's screaming at the crowd, he does it in Spanish. I think that is just, it's just so good, and the part of his personality and character. But he came out to accept on Liv's behalf as she was not there. But sneak attack from Liv didn't pay off. As Neil said, wrestlers are getting smarter. Liv tried to do sneak attack behind Rhea. She clobbered her, took her out, and she went to chase Dom out of the ring. But then Liv pushed her from behind. She got caught in the ropes, and that ensued an attack by Liv and Dom on Rhea and her leg. And Priest came out for the save. Kind of eventually went to a backstage segment where, you know, Rhea was acting like a child, not letting Medical have a look at her. Priest had to calm her down, said, look, you know, let them look after you. I want to fight someone from the Judgment Day. You can't do it. So I'm going to go try and get a match. We come back to that a little bit later, and Priest said, I suppose, you know, Finn won't give me a match unless it's a tag team match. No one here likes me. I haven't got any friends. And Rhea's like, oh, you know, I might have somebody in mind. Which I think at that point we all kind of knew who it was going to be. But then Damien comes back, and even Damien said, let me know what he says. He goes off and he comes back to her later. So what did he say? Did he say yes? And she's like, no. What did he say then? He said, yeet. Yeet. And that set up our main event for later in the evening. So it was really great the way they played that out. We still don't know the exact dynamic between like Rhea and Jay, where this is going to go. But we know that Jay is very thirsty, and we'll see what happens. So that's how the show opened. Any thoughts on the opening of the show, guys? We'll get on to the main event when it comes.
Watching Rhea getting caught upside down and then beaten up was interesting. But to be fair, and I don't want to crap on him too hard on his first show, but going from Cole and Pat to Wade and this new guy whose name I apologize.
Joe.
I don't know.
Testator. I'm not sure if that's pronounced right, but
it's a really big drop in energy. Forget the things he says. It's just the energy change is too big. I love Wade Barrett, but I think he should have been paired with Corey. I think Corey would have been a better fit for that pairing because Corey still has the energy and the wit, the wit and the comedy side that Wade doesn't have, and it made everything a little bit less energetic and a little bit less impactful because of this new guy. And listen, he deserves time, and I'm
it's his first show.
His first show deserves time, but I just. I need more energy. It's like he referenced. It's like when Braun Strowman came down, he referenced the big son of a bitch thing, but just said, big SOB. I'm just like, if you're not going to do it with energy, don't do it. And then obviously,
no, I can hear you on that. He presented well in terms of the information he was giving. He seemed like knowledgeable in terms of the history and where things are happening, and his tone was very much. To me, it sounded like a typical kind of just announcer tone, which you might get in other sports. And it was his baseline that was very low, and it was often actually quite quiet. I struggled a couple of times to hear him because that bass tone was so much higher. Where Michael Cole's like general octave is a lot higher, and everything it sounds more urgent because it's a higher pitch. But I do agree with you in terms of the presence of energy in how he's delivering. Now, he was interviewed afterwards, how do you think he went? He said the crowd were amazing. He goes, I don't think I was. I think he's still finding his feet. But I do agree in terms of that color commentator having someone with more energy, because Wade isn't that character either. Wade and Cole work well together because Cole delivers that. Where if it's Corey and him, I think
Wade and Corey worked well together. I liked Wade and Corey as a pairing, but of the four of them, you've put the two higher energy people together, and put the two lower energy people together, and of course you're going to have a less energetic product. And it's just, I hope they switch it up. I mean, I liked it when they used to have three people on the panel. I think that worked well as well.
Okay,
but at least you know that SmackDown's going to be fire.
Yes,
I love those two together.
Bundles of energy.
I love Corey and Cole, and I just think I love Michael Cole. I think Michael Cole has just gone, especially again since Vince has gone. He's just been excellent, absolutely excellent. He's been allowed to be himself. He just comes across as a fan.
Oh, he comes across like if one of us was doing it, just actually just having absolute blast.
And that's what I want from my commentators. They haven't got to be a commentator like on a football match or in Formula One. It's not that kind of commentary. It's part of the show. So you want them to be hyped and energetic. I think you should put Sarah Irvin on the comms because she fucking loves it. And I think she'd be awesome.
No, I totally. We have to give Joe time. Absolutely. Lee, what do you think of the opening segment and our new commentator on Raw?
Nailed the segment. Great. I like the fact that Rhea's taken a bit of an injury. It's obviously kayfabe, but I think she's so far above Liv, it brings her back down a little bit.
Yes, I think that's exactly what they needed.
Yeah, echoing your guys' thoughts. He's still better than Booker T for me. He's still above Booker T. Even on night one, I can't get on board with Booker as a commentator.
No, I've never been a fan.
I like Booker.
I don't think Booker can follow what he says.
For the few matches for the little bit of NXT I've seen, I think Booker makes me laugh, but that might be just the old school in me liking Booker T.
Right, then we had American Made versus the Alpha Academy. Chad Gable helped American Made defeat her, and they picked up the win. American Made, Chad gave him a quick pep talk before they made their way to the ring, and he slapped the shit out of one of the Creed brothers. It was absolutely hilarious. But Ivanhoe and the Creed brothers, they took on Maxine Dupree, or actually this week she had Maxine Dupree, Otis, and Akira Tozawa of Alpha Academy in a 6-man tag match. Again, Alpha Academy looked strong early goings as normal. Maxine Dupree went through the air off the top onto the outside. Otis hit the caterpillar and a cannonball, but he couldn't put the Creed brothers down. And then we're left with Dupree and Niall left in the ring. And that knee by Dupree on Ivy was awesome. That was absolutely savage, and I love how good Dupree's looking in the ring right now. That perfect plex that she hit again, as she did on the outside of the ring last week, she looked great, and she was about to hit the reverse caterpillar. Chad Gable got the interference on the ring apron, and then Niall gave her the dragon sleeper, and Dupree had to submit. Alex, thoughts on the match?
Have we seen anybody have the escalation in skill that we've seen Maxine Dupree have.
Oh,
She
fair
has
play
gone
to her,
from
absolutely.
not being able to wrestle to brilliant. She was
Yes.
great in this match. She was a pleasure to watch. She didn't put a foot wrong. Every move was crisp and perfect. I mean, obviously, we know behind the scenes she has been working with Chad Gable,
Yes.
and I don't think you want a better teacher than someone like Chad Gable. And yeah, she had the perfect opportunity to be the weak link in this match and bring it down because we know how brilliant everybody else in that match was. But she was faultless. She was brilliant. I'm really, really pleased for her. Enjoyed the match, crazy fun, and listen, it's still just a setup for Chad to get paired up against Howdy again. But yeah, really, really great, fun match. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Watching Maxine fly off the top rope, and we haven't seen a dragon sleeper used in WWE in a long time, so I was pleased to see that as well.
Yeah. Lee, Neil, anything to add?
Only that I don't think there's a better hot tag in wrestling at the minute than a hot tag to Otis. The crowd just seems to go mental.
They do love
Yeah,
it.
got to get some Otis on Raw each week.
Yeah, they're cheering his name. Yeah, absolutely. And as Alex alluded to there, American Made made a challenge to the Wyatt Six to an 8-person tag team match for next week. We had Uncle Howdy come out and respond to accept the challenge. We don't know which out of the 5 will wrestle for that 8-man tag match. Some will we have to left out. I'm suspecting it's probably going to be Howdy not wrestling, because we'd have to have Abby the Witch. She has to be in it. Because of Ivy and I also, I'd imagine he's probably going to be the one to step aside unless it was someone like Rowan or something was there as more of an enforcer. So we'll see what happens. But that's going to be next week on Raw. But then we had probably the highlight of the show. CM Punk came out to celebrate his win over Drew McIntyre at Bash in Berlin. Everyone's smiling. And he said he was done with Drew. It's time to move on. He's focused on the gold. And he called out Gunther. He says in his sights, he wants to be world heavyweight champion. He put him on notice. That looked like the end of the segment. He went to interact with the crowd, stood up on the announcer's table, and then a surprise attack by an assailant in a black hoodie took out Punk. And to everyone's absolute shock, it was Drew McIntyre. And he put the beat down on CM Punk. Great Claymore, especially the one where Punk was on the table and he ran over to the table and put him down. That was beautiful.
Claymored him out of his shoe.
He did, yes. His actual shoe flew off as a shot of his trainer on the floor. And he stole back his bracelet and put it on, decided to take it off, and he broke it, which is he should have done it at the PLE because that was my prediction. But it worked well here. It was fine. He broke his bracelet. And he ended up shoving the pieces down Punk's throat, which was just beautiful. That was awesome. Punk was taken out on a stretcher. We thought that was kind of it. He's going to be heading to the local medical facility. But Drew continued his assault backstage, throwing punches and sticking his thumbs into Punk's eyes, trying to blind the son of a bitch. It was such a great segment. Drew looked like an absolute beast in this. And I'm so glad this feud isn't over. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, Drew. That's how you deal with a damn opponent. That's how you vent your frustrations. Right? That is how you vent your frustrations at work. Beat them up
At work.
and then when the ambulance comes to get them, you beat them up again.
Yeah.
Can I add, I work in HR. That's definitely not.
That's a lot of paperwork. Yeah.
From an HR point of view, we can't condone this violence.
Yes.
God, I feel for WWE HR. I mean, we could probably get to a real HR issue very shortly, but I'm not ready for this feud to be over because it's just been so bloody brilliant. And I feel like the problem is, again, me and Neil are in the same boat. For me, Drew McIntyre is the babyface in this. I don't care what anybody else says. CM Punk is the heel. He's gaslit all the fans into believing he's the good guy, but he's not, and he is evil. He is the Fernando Alonso of WWE, and none of you will understand what I'm talking about with that. But if you've come over from Missed Apex, you understand that, and I'm not going to go into that now. But yeah, it's just such a brilliant rivalry. Every single step of this, I think, has been played perfectly. I have not been unhappy with any of it, apart from I got my prediction wrong. That's the only reason I was unhappy with the result in the pay-per-view, because it was my prediction that was wrong, and my wife has beaten me at predictions, and she doesn't watch, and just knows some of the names. So that's the only reason I am smarting. But no, this is brilliant. We got blood. It's going to Bad Blood. I'm predicting a Hell in a Cell. It can't be anything else, right?
I can't imagine it would be anything else, but depending if it's going to finish at 3 or whether they'll keep it going. Who absolutely knows? Right, so then
it will end at 3, and I imagine that it will be, because I don't think there is a Hell in a Cell this year, so I imagine it will be a Hell in a Cell match in Bad Blood.
Yeah, I think they're going to be not putting it as its own pay-per-view, but a match type in another pay-per-view, which is, I think, Bad Blood. Lee, anything to add?
I don't want to see Punk set his sights on Gunther. I don't want Punk anywhere near the World Heavyweight title at all. Maybe at a Mania match, but Gunther needs a run. And I know he's just got off a huge IC title run, but yeah, I can see Punk doing a Rock. You know, he was really aggrieved when Rock come back and just won the title, wasn't he? And
yeah.
He's going to
do the same thing. Yeah, win the Rumble and go on.
Which, whilst I agree with you, Lee, everything you just said would lean perfectly in to a WrestleMania match for the World Heavyweight title between Seth Rollins and champion CM Punk. You came back from a long hiatus. You won the title, which is what you were bitching that Rock did. You are now just like him, you know, just like, now you're a hypocrite. And then you can have this whole thing where Drew is the baby face because he is the one who's speaking the truth. You now have Seth Rollins speaking the truth. But again, the fans love Punk.
I think
Punk. Sorry, Ken, go on.
No, go ahead.
Punk is coming back. Part of the reason for Punk coming back is he wants that WrestleMania moment that he's never had.
It doesn't mean he's going to get it, but I think he will.
Yeah, but I think the moment has to be him winning it there, not going in as champion and retaining it. He will win it at Mania. I don't know who I want him to beat for it. Maybe I don't know, because I see Gunther having it for a long time, and I don't see Gunther losing it at Mania. So maybe
multi-man match, don't have Gunther pinned.
Yeah, I guess, but maybe it's also a case of, you know, we'll have the brand switch, the what's it called?
Yeah, the draft.
We'll have the draft.
There will be a draft.
We'll have the draft before then, won't we?
Draft is after Mania, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, draft.
Okay,
is
we're
after
not
Mania.
draft then. So okay.
I wouldn't be opposed to having Gunther versus Seth Rollins
versus Drew
versus Punk versus Drew, fatal 4-way. That could be epic.
I want that kind of match to be an elimination match. I would really like, because I would love a fatal 4-way to be an elimination style match, and I just think it works really, really well.
All right, cool. Then we had an Intercontinental Championship tournament match for the number 1 contender. It was again a triple threat match. We have Ilya Dragunov versus Dragon Lee versus Dirty Dominic Mysterio. And basically Mysterio wasn't really in this match. Priest ended up chasing him out of the arena. And so he ended up coming to a one-on-one with Lee and Dragunov. They were great together. I thought they had a really great segment. That last 5 minutes was awesome. But it was the Mad Dragon who nailed a torpedo Moscow to gain the win. And I think it's the right decision here. Dragunov, I think, is phenomenal, and the crowd are getting really behind him. Felt a little bit for Dragon Lee because I think he's really, really talented. But I think it was Dragunov that needed to go through.
He came out dressed like a character that was built on WWE game.
Yeah,
with his wings and
with
stuff.
his dragon costume. Yeah,
but I give me more of those two in the ring, please.
Yeah,
like
100%.
like we have with Andrade and Mello. I want these two again because that has like 5-star classic written all over it with those two. The theatrics that those two are able to perform is fantastic. I mean, to be fair, it's a shame Dom got chased away because he also was brilliant in that match. Dom's getting better and better with every single match. Every single match that he is. So yeah, no, enjoyed that. But the person I predicted would win would won.
I need Dominic. I'm sorry. I need Dominic to win a solo title.
I agree.
For a while. I need him to beat someone that he's got no right in beating. Not Gunther, but just someone he's got no right to beat, and he
Braun
beats
Breaker.
them. Yeah, and that
and then because then you have him and Liv as champions.
Yes, and then imagine Braun Breaker going on an absolute tear, destroying half the planet, chasing Dominic Mysterio around for 3 months, chasing him around for 3 months, and every time, you know what I want? I want Dominic to win the title and then lose every single match, but never lose the title.
The title match,
Get disqualified, get counted out, you name it, just happen, just so he's a champion for like 6
just
months.
Keep turning the heat up so that everyone
100%.
hates him more and more. It's because the heat that he has, as you talked about the boos earlier, is just brilliant, and he is loving it. He is absolutely loving it. To be the most heat, to have the most heat of anyone in wrestling at the moment is an incredible feat, and everyone still loves it. And
he's everything his deadbeat dad wasn't. You know, he's just like
the opposite, the antithesis.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the hero and the villain. He's absolutely digging it. Lee, anything to add?
No, nothing. A great match. Dragon Lee's brilliant. Followed him in NXT. He had some good matches with Dom, I do believe. He's a really good over the North American title.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. But
I forget Dom held that. Actually, yeah, absolutely.
Have I made this up? Following on what Neil said about being people he's no right at being, was Dom booked to eliminate Brock Lesnar in the Rumble?
Yes. Originally that was the plan.
That would have been fantastic.
That would have been amazing. Yeah, Dom versus Brock Lesnar would have been insane. That would have been a crazy match. Could still happen. Then we had the Women's Tag Team Championship #1 contenders match, Damage Control versus the Unholy Union. A fairly decent match. Kairi Sane took a nasty bump on the outside, leaping off the top turnbuckle to the outside, and she hit her head on the announcer's table, was busted open, and a real bloodshot eye. Thankfully, she's okay. But the Unholy Union picked up the win after Jade Cargill took out Kairi Sane on the outside. And they're #1 contenders again, so they get their rematch straight away. And that rematch is happening next week on Raw. So that turnaround is very, very quick. Thoughts on that, gentlemen? Because I thought that was a bit of a surprise, have a tag match again so quick. Could this be the starting of the unraveling already?
I mean, I think it's just because, like, so many people were surprised about how good a performance the Union put in.
Bash in Berlin, yeah.
It's like they said, if we're going to lose, let's lose well.
Yeah.
Let's show them what we can do. And I think they put in an absolutely stellar performance. Again, another great match. So yeah, deserve to have another go. And yeah, the ones to cause the issue, if they become the team that cause the rift between Jade and Bianca, then so be it. I'm happy with that.
Cool. We had then Gunther come out to celebrate his win over Randy Orton, saying he beat one of the all-time greats, and he was interrupted by Sami Zayn. So Sami talked about the greats like Intercontinental champions like Macho Man, Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and his personal hero Bret Hart. They were legends who won the Intercontinental title first and then used it as a stepping stone to become World Heavyweight Champion, or WWE Champion. And he points out Gunther took the same path. You know, he won the Intercontinental Championship and is now World Heavyweight Champion, and Sami is going to do the same. So Gunther hyped him up, saying you could see and hear the passion in him. If this is really what you want, the answer is no. Walked out of the ring. No, thank you. Well, after leaving the ring, Sammy called back after him and shouted back at Gunther to the point out that he is the only man to really beat him one-on-one in the ring in WWE. And I loved Gunther. Gunther is getting even better and better on the mic. And when he went to the end of the ramp, not physical ramp, but the end of the walkway, you could see the unrest in his face about what Sammy was saying was true. But then when he turned around to face Sammy, he was all smiles and confidence with his delivery. And then when he turned back around again, his face dropped again. And it's these little things that just deliver on that character work. And it's so, so good. And it plays into those stories beautifully. So this isn't a challenge I expected. Lee, what were your thoughts on this?
No, I'm like you, Kenan. Didn't see it coming. But God, it just works, doesn't it? We're in a different era of storytelling again. Bad blood. You know, the bad blood's there. I beat you for the Intercontinental title. I'm going to take your big gold now. Yeah. And they'll have a great match. And Gunther will win. And but he's really got the art of the story, the facial expression as well, isn't he? Like Owens.
Yeah. 100%. Neil?
Look, let's just point this out right now, right? The people backstage, and I mean the people who are in WWE who are giving, I guess, for lack of a better term, acting lessons to these superstars who are just, like enhancing their characters. This is stellar work. I mean, look, I go to the cinema every month and I'm seeing better work on WWE than I've seen in a bunch of films. Right?
100%.
That whole I've got my back to you, so I show real emotion, and then I turn around and I'm like, you're nothing to me.
Gunther has just been getting better and better and better. Listen, his wrestling performance was never in question, but you've just seen this man grow on the mic and grow with confidence, and he puts people down and puts people in their place with some brutal comments. It's just like, you're not even on my planet, Sammy. I don't even need to acknowledge you. But yeah, it was just brilliant. It was just great cinema. It's the stuff we tune in for. We don't tune in for the men in pants slapping each other around. We tune in for the cinema bits that lead to the men in pants slapping each other around. And it's brilliant. I loved it, and I can't get enough of Gunther at the moment. I think he is in contention for best professional wrestler in the world. From character work to in-ring work to ring psychology, just everything is just perfect from that man at the moment. It's mwah.
And to me, that the World Heavyweight Championship is now elevated above the WWE Championship for me. I see the World Heavyweight Championship as the number one title in the business at the moment.
Cody's reign is boring in comparison.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Right, then we had another Intercontinental Championship tournament match. The reason why I say that is because I won the World Heavyweight Championship belt, so that's the one I'm going to buy. But so we had another.
That's called gaslighting, Kenan.
So we had another one contender triple threat match: Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser, and which was originally going to be Big Bronson Reed, but he was out due to COVID, so it was going to be a surprise entry right up until the match. And Braun Strowman came out all strapped up, saying to Pierce he'd been medically cleared, even though he'd been put through a car roof last week, and he was going to fight. And can I just point out also, Ludwig Kaiser, the entrance that he gave Gunther at Bash in Berlin, I forgot to mention that. Samantha Evans was about to introduce him, hand come out. I'm taking this moment. That was beautiful. Anyway, there's Kaiser and Sheamus went at it to start with, and kind of Braun Strowman was on the out. He did his run around the ring, took them both out. He ended up going through the barricade. Kaiser thought Strowman was down, and he came running around the ring. This chair just came out of nowhere, right into Kaiser's face. That was beautiful. We had Sheamus and Strowman duke it out, and but then Pete Dunne came in, took out the Celtic Warrior with a shillelagh. And then Strowman took advantage of the interference, leveling Kaiser with a running power slam to book his ticket in the fatal four-way match. Now, this was really surprising for me because, one, Braun was never supposed to be in this match. So was Bronson Reed going to win, and therefore they've just
Yes.
replaced like for storytelling? Or did they make a change last minute? Because I would have put Ludwig in instead of Braun Strowman personally, but maybe they feel they need that bigger person in a fatal four-way who can demolish everyone for a period, but then all three of them gang up on him, knock him out, and put him on the outside of the ring for 10 minutes.
Or maybe, because obviously, let's say Bronson Reed's off because he's got COVID. Let's say Bronson gets over his COVID this week in time for Raw next week. He could turn up, batter the shit out of Braun Strowman and take his place and be like, well, you took my spot anyway. We've seen people do that in Royal Rumbles and in fucking Money in the Bank matches. Why not in a fatal four-way match? And
Yeah, that's a good shout.
And the general manager is not gonna get in his way, really, is he? Otherwise, he gets tsunami'd. I'd love to see Pierce get tsunami'd. That'd be hilarious.
Absolutely. 100%.
But I thought I had this match spoiled for me on social media before. I do my weird. Because I'm addicted to my phone, I scroll through social media in the morning and I'll scroll through Instagram, but I'll scroll slowly to not see the top. And I'm pretty certain I caught a glimpse of Joe Hendry. So I strolled away and I thought they were going to give Joe Hendry the spot. So the entire way through Raw, I'm like, we're going to see Joe. We're going to see Joe. And then it was Braun. I'm like, oh, I was disappointed that the spoiler I thought I got wasn't right. Didn't come
100%,
to fruition.
100%. Main Royal Rumble, that's when he'll turn up on the main show.
Absolutely.
100%.
And it's going to be the biggest pop of the night.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Any other thoughts on this triple threat?
Got a couple. I think, firstly, the Bronson Reed coming out of it I see that as a blessing in disguise because I don't see anyone dethroning Bron Breakker. And I don't want Bronson's aura to be built so high then lose. Great.
But he can get into that fatal four-way match and just be picked on by everybody else. Done that way.
Him and Bron could wipe each other out. I just don't want to see him take a pin. Secondly, Sheamus. I want Sheamus to dethrone Bron Breakker at Mania. That's where I see that.
Grand
That's what I
Slam
want.
champ.
Give it to me, Trips. That's what I want.
No, I can understand that.
Yeah, I just have to say, I think as it was earlier mentioned, Bronson Reed being out of that match is blessing in disguise because now, and I think by putting Braun in, because it's like, okay, he has COVID now. Hypothetically, if we're saying that he got COVID, like Sunday, he could theoretically be back for next week's Raw.
Oh yeah,
and he could absolutely demolish Strowman to get him out of the match, and then let whoever wins, face Braun, get speared into another planet, and then you have it. It's like, oh, we have a rivalry. It's Strowman versus Reed, and then the winner of that goes to Reed can be like, oh, you know what, Breakker, I want a piece of you because I was supposed to be in the triple threat match and I didn't get my shot, so I just want to take it. I'm going to take you on, and then you could have these two have surprisingly a monumental match.
Yeah, no, I agree. And because again, that could lead into bad blood. 100%. Because I do think it's right because it's a fatal four ways, no DQ. Bronson Reed could just show up, take out Braun Strowman mid-match to stop him from winning it.
Because it's very, very clear that Jey Uso is going to win this match. Because Jay and Braun have been having some stuff backstage. So
then we have Damian Priest and Jey Uso versus Finn Balor and JD Madonna in the main event. Obviously, Damian Priest teamed up with his former rival, Jey Uso, as they took on the World Tag Team Championships in a non-title match. And it was a pretty entertaining match. But ultimately ended up with Uso was about to do a Uso splash off the top. Liv Morgan came down. She pushed him off to save the match. This allowed Balor and Madonna to hit a coup de grace moonsault, but Priest broke up the fall. But then Rhea Ripley emerged. She came down with her crutch, but feigning her injury a little bit more severe. I loved Liv's reaction, though, coming down, laughing at her, hobbling along, and then obviously Rhea grabbed the crutch and hit her with it and chased her out of the ring as much as she could. And that allowed for Priest to hit the Razor's Edge, followed by an Uso splash onto Madonna, who's always obviously going to be the one who takes the pin. Got to protect our man Finn Balor until we have that one-on-one. And the Uso and Damian Priest ended up as our winners for the main event. And obviously there was some yeeting going on in the ring afterwards with Rhea getting on board and Jey Uso just keep giving her side eye. But yeah, and that's how the match ended. So thoughts on the final match and the main event of the evening, gents?
The match wasn't stellar,
No.
but the storyline beats were stellar.
Yes, correct.
Right?
It was a
And
by
it's
the
like
numbers
that whole-
match, wasn't it?
Yeah, by the numbers match. Like, you knew who was going to win long before it happened. It wouldn't surprise me if Jey Uso loses this match against Braun. Like, he wins the opportunity to face Braun, loses against Braun, but because he had that whole, like, you know, joining up with the Terror Twins against the Judgment Day, it wouldn't surprise me if that leads to him and Damian winning the tag titles.
Teams. Yeah, agreed. So next week on Raw, we have Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus the Unholy Union for the Women's Tag Team Championship. We have the 8-man tag match in a street fight with American Made versus the Wyatt Six. And then we have the Intercontinental Championship final match, number one contenders final chip. Try that again. The Intercontinental Championship number one contenders final in a fatal four-way, which was Jey Uso, Ilya Dragunov, Pete Dunne, and Braun Strowman. So just going to go around to each of you. Give me your predictions. Lee, who's going to win that?
The Fatal 4-Way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jey Uso.
Okay, Neil? You're on mute.
He's not saying anything yet. He's having one of his pauses.
Braun Strowman. It'll be Braun Strowman who wins.
Braun Strowman. Okay, and Alex?
No, Braun's gonna get fucked up by Braun. Well, if Bronson is cleared, if Bronson is cleared from COVID, he's gonna come back, fuck up Strowman, and Jay's gonna win. And if that's not the case, I think they can let Strowman win, and then Bronson will cost Strowman the title match against Braun. If that makes sense.
Interesting.
Usually they're like, it's supposed to be 10 days. I don't know if that changed, but it was supposed to be like, you get COVID, you're gone for 10 days. So I'm like, he might not be cleared to come back.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, even if he was cleared to come back, what makes more of an impact? Someone coming back to screw you out of the opportunity to face the champion, or them coming back to screw you out of a title winning opportunity? And I'm like, title winning opportunity sounds more, it's more frustrating. So I'm like, yeah. And also it's easy because it gives Breaker a easy first defense, right? It gives him an easy first defense because he can face the giant that is Braun Strowman. But they can have a killer match where it's the power of Strowman versus the Goldberg-esque raw brutality of Breaker. You can have all of that going on, but you can still have it that, the match is inconclusive, which then would lead to a triple threat match with the three of them, so I'm like, there's too many good options that come out of screwing Braun Strowman during a title match.
Yeah, I agree.
Than just having Jey Uso, I think Jey Uso is going to get screwed out of this match by the Judgment Day. So
that's a really good point. I'll merge that with what I said about Riedel screw Strowman out. But however, Strowman has to be over his sore ribs by next Monday. He can't win that fatal four-way also being in pain with his bad ribs because it makes everybody else look bad. So he's got to come back properly back to the monster and back to 100% full self.
See, I'm not convinced that Bronson Reed has COVID. I mean, I don't know if that's a legitimate thing.
They wouldn't have said COVID. They'd have just said medically not clear. They specifically
because that makes him look weak. No, because that makes him look weak. The fact that he walked away from that incident last week and then Braun Strowman's here this week. So I think it is more story related. I think they may have had a change of mind because they were going to put Big Bronson Reed in that match. They realized that he's on such a momentum at the moment. He can't lose that fatal 4-way and they don't want to put him against Bron Breakker at the moment. So remove him from this situation. And if you say he's injured, but then, you know, you have Braun Strowman there walking in, you can't have that. So COVID means he can't be around. Incubation is 5 days anyway, even if it was true. So I think fatal 4-way, again, it's no DQ. I'd imagine Bronson Reed coming out, destroying Braun Strowman. Sheamus will come out and take out Pete Dunne. Judgment Day can take out Jey Uso. And Dragunov picks up the win. And I would actually go... It could be mental. And so I would actually say...
shenanigans.
Yeah, and all that does is sets up all your different feuds for Bad Blood, because you can have Sheamus and Pete Dunne at Bad Blood. You could have Braun Strowman and...
How long is
Reed
Bad
there.
Blood going to... Is Bad Blood going to be 2 nights now?
It could be, yeah. Jey Uso and Damian Priest take on the tag team champions because they've been screwed over, and that's then defended, which they talked about hasn't been happening. And then Dragunov goes against Bron Breakker, and they had a great match previously, but he is someone who can take that L and still on put a great match. So that's how I'd book it.
Bad Blood, the first WWE, the first speed.
Yeah, speed PLE.
Every match is 3 minutes long.
I mean, I'm going to point out to you, right, that I is the title match against Breaker is that at Bad Blood.
It's
Is
not
it a guarantee
confirmed.
that it's, because I can imagine it will just be they win and then the following week they face Breaker.
It could happen, yeah, on Raw. Yeah, 100%. That could happen.
Because all those matches that you named, yeah, Strowman versus Reed. You know,
Dunne and Sheamus.
Dunne and Sheamus.
That has to be just finished now. Yeah.
You know, Judgment Day versus Jay and Damian. That's 3 matches. All you need is Gunter and Sami Zayn. That's
And
4
Rhea-
matches.
Rhea and Liv.
Yeah, that's 5 matches. That right there, you have
That's a
5.
banging pay-per-view. Because
Or maybe
the-
6, because you have to have CM Punk and Drew.
Because the what's it called match? But Cody's got to have a match.
No,
He doesn't.
have to.
I don't think
Cody,
he does.
it's in Georgia. Cody has to have
Oh,
a
yeah,
match.
that's true. No, that is true. Drew. He
Cody
does
has to have a match. So Cody will be the main event.
Shit.
I mean, as
Exactly.
crazy as it sounds, it wouldn't be out of the realms of possibility to have Cody just host it and then have him brutalized by the bloodline, and then that sets the stage for whatever the next pay-per-view is. I know it's cheap.
Unfortunately,
and it's cheesy.
that's not what the home crowd are going to want.
They can have it on SmackDown the night before.
because the thing is, I think you're forgetting Braun. Well, I mean, Braun Breaker's a Georgia boy. Xavier Woods is a Georgia boy.
But Cody has been promoting
up,
it.
This is true.
Cody's been promoting it. Unfortunately, how much I agree that that's a great card, it's not what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's true. Fair dues.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, I want you booking it, not Triple H.
Oh,
Surely-
listen, boys, give me the opportunity, right, to book up a pay-per-view. I'm gonna sell you some shit.
I'm buying.
What would be the headline, though, for if it's Bad Blood? Would it be Cody and Solo, or would it be
Yes.
CM Punk and Drew?
Cody and Solo.
Kevin,
They've
Kevin.
been banging it up. Also, who is Metro?
He's a rapper.
Boring.
Yeah, I don't know who it is.
He's the Metro is the reason that we have this whole Drake versus Kendrick Lamar. Like the opening shot happened on his record, on Metro's record. So
Oh, okay.
Right. I'm gonna
Yeah, I don't
pretend
know any
what
of that
I'm
beef.
talking about. Talking about beef, and again, it's out my realms of what I watch, but the diss track of Trick Williams for Pete Dunne was brilliant. Using butch instead of bitch. Perfect. If you haven't seen it and you don't know what we're talking about, go to Twitter. I might stick it up on my Twitter. Actually, Kenan, stick it on the bitching about wrestling Twitter. That is hilarious. Very, very funny from Trick Williams.
All right, cool. And well, we'll wrap up our review of Raw there. This is a hell of a podcast. It's been very, very long. Thank you. Hopefully you're still with us, or at least skip through. Gentlemen, is there anything else you want to mention before we go today?
My normal plugs, Alex Van Gene on TikTok, on Twitter, on Instagram, and Alex Van Gene Racing on YouTube. I have a race in 2 weeks. I'm very, very excited. I have a rebuilt engine that actually might not be shit. So I might be able to move myself slightly further up the order just by not being hamstrung by what turns out to be 6% down on power, which is quite a lot in an engine. It's only got 9 horsepower. So yeah, I will be making another video, so make sure you go watch that. And if you're bored in the meantime, go watch all my other videos and just click likes and comments and shit and just help my algorithm so I can start getting paid from YouTube.
Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? But yeah, absolutely. Head over to Alex's page. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. And whilst you're here, hit like and subscribe on our Bitchin' About Wrestling YouTube page. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Bitchin' About WWE and all our other social media platforms at Bitchin' About Wrestling. You'll find us in most places. The audio podcast is also available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So make sure you hit follow and give us that 5-star review. And that's it for this week. So thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Love Bitchin' About Wrestling with you guys as always. And thank you very much. And until next time, peace out.
Peace.